Regular meeting of council to order, Monday, February 7th, 2022. Approval of the agenda, please. Councillor Norbury.
That the February 7th, 2022 regular council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconded. Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes, January 17th, 2022, regular meeting of council minutes. Recommendation, please. Councillor Majinski.
Council approves the January 17th, 2022 regular meeting of council minutes as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Lehman. Any errors or omissions? Council? Staff?
None.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 3.2, January 18th, 2022, special meeting of council minutes. Recommendation, please. Councillor Majinski.
Council approves the January 18th, 2022 special meeting of council minutes as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Norbury. Any errors or omissions? Staff?
None.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 3.3, January 24th, 2022, budget meeting of council minutes. Recommendation, please. Councillor Majinski.
Council approves the January 24th, 2022 budget meeting of council minutes as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Lehman. Any errors or omissions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda. Excuse me. Recommendation, please. Councillor Norbury.
That all items in the February 7th, 2022 consent agenda be moved for information.
Seconder. Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Any items council would like to lift from the consent agenda? Councillor Norbury,
7.7, Mayor Bertrand.
for discussion. Seconder. Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I just wanted to give a shout out to the people that are involved in getting a petition to BCUC against the increased rates by P&G. I was speaking with Mr. Van Brabant, and they received over 500 signatures from households in the community. So 500 households. That's an outstanding feat for a group of volunteers and everyone involved. It can't hurt. I think it can only help our case in letting BCUC know our whole community is feeling on it. And we have a lot of people that complain and a lot of people that talk. It's great to see people that are willing to do. So everyone involved, I think, thank you for working on this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ms. Thompson, can you give us an update on the intervenor status, please?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. A report will be coming to council at PPC next week regarding intervenor status and next steps.
Okay, so we have been accepted as intervenor status?
Correct.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments in regards to 7.7? Yeah, I also want to thank the Van Brabants for going above and beyond to put this petition together. And it's not just a complaint, it's felt by the whole community. I think about people with fixed incomes that are going to be forced to try and pay this increase, and I don't know how they will be. So I really hope that BCUC pays attention to our words. Absolutely. Okay, any other items on the consent agenda, council? Okay, moving on to bylaws, 8.1. Zoning amendment bylaw number 709, 2022. Report dated January 7th, 2022 from the Deputy Corporate Officer requesting first and second readings of zoning amendment bylaw number 709, 2022. Recommendation, please. Councillor Norbury.
That the zoning amendment bylaw number 709, 2022 be read a first time.
Seconder. Councillor Norbury, Councillor Majinski. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. A second recommendation. Councillor Majinski.
That the zoning amendment bylaw number 709, 2022 be read for a second time.
Seconder. Councillor Lehman. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 8.2, Official Community Plan Bylaw number 707, 2022. Report dated January 7, 2022 from the Director of Corporate Services requesting first and second reading of Official Community Plan Bylaw number 707, 2022. I'd like to make the motion to defer, as all members of council need to be present in order to vote this through. So, motion to defer, seconder Councillor Majinski. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Great. New business 9.1, appointment of election officers. Report dated February 7th, 2022 from the Director of Corporate Services requesting appointment of election officers. Recommendation, please. Councillor Lehman.
Did council appoint Helene Torval?
Sorry, just a minute, please.
Sorry, Keith.
Councillor Majinski.
Mayor, I just want to step out, recuse myself, as I may have a pecuniary interest in this.
Certainly. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Lehman.
Did council appoint Helene Torval as chief election officer for the 2022 general municipal election? And that council appoints Jane Butters as deputy chief election officer for the 2022 general municipal election?
Seconder, Councillor Korkalka. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Please. Nine point two, Johnny Malcolm Foundation Memorial Bench, report dated February 7th, 2022 from the Deputy Director of Corporate Services regarding replacement of the Johnny Malcolm Foundation Memorial Bench. Recommendation, please. Councillor Majinski.
The council received the report titled Johnny Malcolm Foundation Memorial Bench for discussion.
Seconder, Councillor Korkalka. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Majinski.
Thank you, Mayor. Just want to say thank you to staff for getting this done and bench in order, and get it completely replaced and fix. And it was nice to see that it got done so quickly as well. So we'll see it there in the spring, hopefully, and all the golfers can enjoy it. So it's good.
Absolutely. Councillor Lehman.
Thank you, Mayor. I was just wondering if anyone had talked to the manufacturer to see if there was any warranty on these benches, or if it shouldn't have broken down as fast as it did. Just wondering why, or if there was any chance of getting them to actually supply another one.
Ms. Thompson.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand, through council. From my understanding, it wasn't a defect of the bench, it was actually vandalism, that it had been damaged by a golf cart running into it multiple times.
Oh. Don't remember that, but okay. Councillor Korkalka.
Thank you, Your Worship. We just get some information back from staff on what the delay was. You know, my understanding from one of the people that were part of the bench fundraising and all that, it contacted the district. So I'm just curious where that delay breakdown is. And I'd like to hear more about this golf cart thing, and if that is the case, if we are aware if it was done by a golf cart, do we have who was the culprit? Because why would the district be paying the $1786.21 if we know it was done that way by a golf cart hitting it many, many times?
Ms. Thompson.
Thank you. I'm not aware of the first, the information of when the complaint had first come forward, or the information had first come forward. It's something that I can look at a record and see when I can find out. Do you know approximately when it was brought forward?
I don't. I just know that they called out.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, it's, for staff that are present here, we're unsure of when that actually did come in. In regard to the damage that was done to it, I don't feel that they know who has done it, but where the marks are and everything, it is like the height of a golf cart from the information that I had received.
So is there a recorded incident in regards to that, or a damaged golf cart?
I don't believe so. I don't know when it happened, and I don't believe we have anything on file, just what has been relayed verbally.
Okay. Any other comments, questions? Okay, thank you. Moving on to 9.3, Personal Vehicles Policy PW6, report dated February 7th, 2022, from the Director of Corporate Services regarding the rescinding of Personal Vehicles Policy PW6. Recommendation, please. Councillor Kirkowka,
That personal vehicles policy PW-6 is rescinded.
seconder. Councillor Majinski, discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. 9.4, Quick Response Code Communication and Engagement Campaign. Report dated February 7th, 2021 from the Director of Economic Development and Tourism regarding a Quick Response Code Communication and Engagement Campaign. Recommendation, please. Councillor Norbury.
That council approve and adopt the quick response QR code communication and engagement campaign as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Kirkowka, discussion. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. So I'm going to support the motion on the floor. And I just want to say this is an outstanding turnaround. We talked about this a few
Last
weeks
week.
ago, and it's already on the table for us to look at. So I think it's a great example of the work that our EDO is going to bring to us, hopefully. And yeah, I'm very excited to see this engagement happen in our community. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Any other comments, questions? Yeah, I'd like to reiterate, thank you very much, Ms. Finnegan. This is an exciting venture, I think. It's going to really bridge the gap between the residents and the district here and be able to use in multiple circumstances too. So it's definitely an exciting project here. Councillor Kirkowka.
Yeah, and I think it's unreal how this was turned around and the idea and stuff, so thanks to staff. Financial and budgetary implications. I would hope if we decide that we're gonna start adding these to all the pre-existing signs and stuff like that, there's a discussion before we talk about that at $5,692, so. You know, there's stickers we can use and stuff like that. Not gonna get into that deep discussion, but just wanna make sure we have an insight that we're not approving stuff like that.
For sure. Ms. Thompson?
Thank you. At this point, it's just an idea that we brought forward for council that we will include in budget. And as the program rolls out, we'll bring information back to see where we want to go with it, what the pilot is, and how far we want to take it. So this is just initial information that we brought and ideas that we have, whether or not we needed to include in budget. So that's what we'll do.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions? Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. 9.5, 05-8887 Alberta Limited, application for liquor license. Report dated February 7th, 2022, from the Director of Corporate Services regarding an application for liquor license for 105-8887 Alberta Limited. Recommendation, please. Councillor Norbury.
That the report from the Director of Corporate Services regarding 105-8887 Alberta Limited application for a liquor primary license be received. Further, the council recommends the issuance of a liquor primary license for the following reasons. The application is not expected to have a negative impact on the community or produce any significant negative land use impacts on adjacent properties, and that the views of the residents were requested by posting a notice on the district website and the district socials media, with no comments being received.
Seconder. Councillor Kirkowka, discussion. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I'd like to, wish congratulations and hope you do well to the owners of the new Bear Den establishment. It's great to see businesses change and adapt, and hopefully they'll thrive in the downtown core. And I'm excited to see maybe a little more livening happening down in downtown and a bit of nightlife.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 9.6 to temporary commercial use permit 123 Ash Crescent. Report dated February 7, 2022 from the Director of Corporate Services requesting Council's authorization of public notification for a proposed temporary commercial use permit to Yvonne Poulin of 123 Ash Crescent. Recommendation, please. Councillor Norby.
That council authorize the public notification to affected neighborhoods for a proposed temporary commercial use permit to Yvonne Poulin of 123 Ash Crescent, BC, having legal description of PGP 28289, lot 120, district lot 3164, to conduct the C1 business of renting a basement suite for hosting and charging visiting therapists.
Seconder, Councillor Prokalka. Discussion. I'm definitely in support of this. I think the community is in definite need of these professionals coming to town, and I wish this business all the best to hopefully be successful in this venture. Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. 9.7, amended GMHL West Facility Use Agreement. Report dated February 7, 2022 from the Recreation Service Manager regarding the amended GMHL West Facility Use Agreement. Recommendation, please. Councillor Kirkhalka.
I'd like to make it for discussion instead of take a recommendation, just because there's, the first recommendation is to pick one of the four. I think we should just discuss it.
Motion to discuss.
Yes.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Councillor Kirkhalka.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. I apologize, I was in and talked to Ms. Thompson, we discussed it a bit in regards when we were doing the generating. I can't remember what option that we were talking about, but there was an option with the room being included, fee included, so it's actually the commercial one. And I understand in the contract, and I think Ms. Thompson can confirm if I'm wrong, but the reason they went with the lower rate in the agreement was because there is a chance that younger kid playing this team at 15 or whatever, but really and truly on a junior 18, I mean, I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, I mean, there's obviously players that will make that. But I mean, I think we should be looking at not worrying about these 15-year-old youths that could possibly play on a team. We're looking at having more adults of that range. And the one thing I did like about the commercial one is that staff had figured to just include, I believe it was include the dressing room. With the fee difference, it kind of worked out, and I think what you're doing there, and I mean, and not to speak out of turn, but I mean, you're charging them for ice, but you're also giving them the use of something else. Yes, they have to renovate it, whatever, but I thought we discussed, and when we talked about renovation of room 1, I thought there was discussion in regards to the painting that was in there for the Adam team. Humber's hockey, I guess, sorry. And who will pay for the cost to have that moved to that room? I mean, I mean, to me, that was done when they made the provincials or won the provincials. I apologize, but we should be making sure that gets painted down in a different room if we're going to give this organization room 1, which does make sense. You know, when you talk home and visiting, you know, keep them out of the hallways together so that they don't have concerns down there in regards to fishing in 2 windows.
For sure.
So I'm more in favor of that one for that reason. I mean, to me, we're getting a fair price on our ice for older age hockey. And to me, on their side, they're getting the use of the dressing room, which we're not charging.
Okay. Councillor Majinski.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm more in favor of the non-profit adult rates, just because this is a not-for-profit society. They will be bringing revenue into our community, and I just don't know if us charging them at a commercial rate, because they aren't technically a business and they're not generating revenue, they're going to be bringing hopefully revenue back into our community. So the not-for-profit, and we could even discuss having the social aspect instead of the non-prime at 71.74, so we can go to social to 76.87. Like, it's not much of a difference, but if we're concerned about how much, if we're looking to make a profit off of this, I don't think we should be looking at it that way. But I think we should act in a fair manner as they are and not for profit.
Councillor Kirkhalka.
Yes, so I kind of agree, I kind of disagree. I'm sorry, when we're allowing them to sell alcohol inside our rink and we say they're not for profit. I mean, there is huge dollar volume made on alcohol. So that to me is, that's where they probably, I get they have to pay for their busing and all that, but that's also where they go after sponsorship. You know, I mean, I phone around to some other organizations that do this, and they actually, it is as commercial ice bookings. Because they're a team. You know, it's a traveling team that has a bus, and they go after huge sponsorship companies, whether it's not just the local companies that are within our own area. And then again, like I said, they're doing the alcohol sales inside the rink. If there's no concession, they can also do food inside the rink, it's in the contract. So that's my thoughts, right? So.
Okay, Councilor Majinski.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, but we're talking about the practice fees here, so they're probably not going to be selling alcohol to midday games or practices. We already have a game rate, which are for the games, which are going to be selling the alcohol at those times. But for these practice fees, they're not going to be prime hours of the day, like, you know, it's supposed to be midday practices, so it doesn't make sense for us to be charging them a commercial rate when it should be probably a non-prime time rate. And if anything, it could be a social rate there, but that's just my concern there, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? For myself, I was leaning towards a nonprofit adult. It is listed as a nonprofit organization. The league is listed as nonprofit, so that's the reasoning for that. And, you know, for me, if it's prime time, you should be paying prime time ice. If it's midday, you should be paying the lesser amount. And I think, for me, in my opinion, that's the way the structure that I would be recommending is if the team is needing prime time ice in the evenings, whichever evening it might be, we have prime time schedule and breakdown of our ice times and how much it charges. So if we didn't have that schedule, it wouldn't make sense, but we do have a schedule, and I think we should follow it. Councillor Majinski.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, and these are estimated hours of practices that they're going to do at 232.5 hours total for the season. If they go over that too, that's great. You know, we're getting a lot more extra revenue. This is a lot of hours here that we currently do not get at all. So it's quite a big jump, you know, for the community center for revenue. But the only concern I have is the game rate at $6,918.03 is they're going to be playing 21 games here. And I don't think the youth organizations here or old timers play that many games in a season, you know, like tournament wise, you know. So they do get a pretty fair deal with that, at that rate for a game rate. I think we should also add the locker room rate in this if we do go non-profit adult.
Like add
the
fee for the locker room?
Yes. Because we are giving that up, which is currently allocated for a team that we have here.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Thompson.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify, when you're looking at the non-prime time, when we estimated the revenues that would be coming in, all their practices are going to be Monday through Friday before 3 p.m. So that's why we put in the non-prime time, just to give an estimate of revenue. So if there is a time where they're going to be using ice on a prime time, they will be charged that as well. But in order to specify a revenue for council and an estimate, we did use that non-prime time rate. But the fees and charges bylaw and the rates set in there will be what will be charged.
Right, okay, thank you. Councillor Norbury.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I'm leaning to agreeing with yourself and Councillor Majinski in that if this organization is a non-profit organization, as they are, we should be charging them a fair rate. They may be able to afford the commercial rate, but you know, if they're a non-profit, we have costs for non-profits. We should stick to that. And when it comes to liquor sales, non-profit organizations, you know, sell liquor to fundraise as well. So, yeah, I think I'm with you on the non-profit.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Majinski?
Yeah, and my reasoning for the locker room, if we add that fee in there, maybe we can utilize some of that funds to repaint a new logo in one of the other rooms.
Yep. Ms. Thompson, I do have one concern. I was just thinking about the new way we're charging minor hockey in the user groups, for like a blanket fee, and then they can, use the ice whenever they want, basically. Has staff considered any implications to that type of structure with this new group moving in? Ms. Thompson?
Yes, thank you, Member Bertrand. Within the agreement, let's take a second to find it, but one of the requests on there was that they would have, first right to any ice that would be open. So when it comes to minor hockey, they have blocks of time. And so they would still have, so let's say U14 says, no, we're not going to practice, then the U9 can pick it, right? So they still have their blocks of time. So it would still be up to minor hockey to release those blocks where they don't need them. And then this team would be able to pick up those ice times out of the blocks that are there for minor hockey.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions? Councillor Regan?
I just wonder, how does this rate compare to, say, Dawson Creek?
Ms. Thompson?
You know, like the commercial rate, how does it rate to, what do they pay in Dawson?
Ms. Thompson, are you aware?
Thank you. We did not look into what anybody else is charging because it's within our fees and charges bylaw. So that's the rates that we went with.
Okay.
From what I remember, I think Dawson Creek was around 360 an hour. That's why we ended up getting the hockey camp coming here. Any other comments, questions, recommendation, please? Councillor Kirkowka.
Yeah, just before that, I'm just curious if staff knows if the group, not how they're under the umbrella of the not-for-profit side called Northern Alberta Hockey, but the GMH West team, if it's actually listed as not-for-profit or if it's a for-profit company.
Ms. Thompson?
One moment, please.
Thank you.
The reason I ask that, it says how they're under the umbrella of a not-for-profit. Are they one?
Mhm.
Are they for-profit? And because they're in a league, they're working under the umbrella of the non-profit umbrella.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's possible or not, but Ms. Thompson?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. It would be something I guess I would need to get full clarification on. I read that as a not-for-profit, and then when you brought that up, it does say that, they operate as their own individual entity under the not-for-profit. So that would be something that I would clarify, and it is something that I can reach out to Mr. Prue, who is the expansion director, and see what that is. I can.
Okay.
If
Councillor.
might be able to do it.
I'm just saying, even if maybe we just, I'm not sure how much more, we don't have much more on our reserve. But even if we just wait just to find that out, if she's able to find out before we go. It could make, to me, it makes a difference. You know, if I'm a commercial owner and I go under the umbrella to use that title, I think we might be listing this wrong in my mind. I mean, I definitely won't support non-profit after, because I read that, and that's why I was saying it was for, I understand everybody saying, well, it's non-profit. But it's not, they're actually working under the umbrella, and that's what confused me. And I didn't have time to come in and talk to Ms. Thompson, because I had that same question earlier, so that's my concern. So I know CCAS and nobody's working on this computer here, but I didn't realize.
Okay. Councillor Majinski?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. And I do believe there is a difference between a nonprofit and a not-for-profit, though there are two distinct differences there. And if it is a not-for-profit, it might be actually, could be a privately owned entity. I just don't know the whole differences there, but maybe it would be worth looking into just to clarify that too.
Okay. Councillor?
I'm just wondering if we just maybe defer this down the agenda. Like however we do that, but I don't want to, I understand staff right now trying to find out, I don't want to hold it up. I mean, I believe there was a little bit of a timeline, and I think staff worked very hard to get this in front of us for tonight.
Mhm.
But I think, to me, we need all the information too when we're making that vote.
About a recess? 10-minute recess, please.
cameras still on, you guys just see.
No. More if they were commercial. Mhm. $100 seats, maybe. Good games. Oh, yeah. It looked like it was a freestyle, but yeah, I don't know. Like it could start it by vandalism, but I don't think the golf cart would wreck concrete. I know it shouldn't. Unless you have one like Minor Keith's where it's the 1981 steel construction, right? But yeah, check his bumper. Wouldn't even have a scratch on it anyways, so it wouldn't matter. Um, yeah. That's crazy. Of course. But as soon as you got into administration's hands, it got done right away. Yeah. Last time's priority list. Those drawings that they're doing on the windows around town are amazing. Have you seen them?
What?
The drawings on all the windows?
Oh yeah, pretty nice.
Holy man.
Yeah, what's her face? Yeah, she's a great artist. She
Unreal.
does animals and like
That's up.
stuff. Like she'll do like your pet and
That's
you know fancy dress uniform for her.
Still on. Can we go early? I did say 10 minutes, but it's only been 5. Call back to order. Ms. Thompson, any luck?
Thank you, Member Trent. I was able to contact Mr. Prue, and he did confirm that they are run, each team is run as a for-profit entity. They do have access to the not-for-profit. However, when booking ice time, it'll be through the team, which is for-profit, not through the not-for-profit side.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Councilor Majinski?
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Councillor Kukalka, for bringing that forward and taking the time to get this thought out, because that changes everything now.
Yeah, that's definitely different than what I had read for sure. Councilor Kukalka?
Yeah, and I appreciate staff to be able to turn around like that. And again, I'll apologize directly to Ms. Thompson for not having the time to come in and ask that question this afternoon. There was something that did come forward. I guess we discuss, do you want to discuss all of it, or do you want to wait till there's a motion? I just have a couple of questions in regards to some of the stuff staff is putting in the back.
Yeah, let's do that, please.
So when they say in regards, and it's, I mean, I won't say it's recommended by staff, but it's in there in regards to the dressing room and stuff like that. And I read how, you know, and sometimes they may allow minor hockey to use that room. That's kind of a wording that I wonder if we can change it. If it is needed by minor hockey, especially if they're not using it. I understand like these teams will have some of their own stuff and that could be a concern. You know, if they have something left in the dressing room or if they're leaving certain things in the dressing room. But, I mean, I've been out of hockey for a long time reffing. I mean, are you reffing this year?
No.
Not that that's personal stuff, but previously, when there would be tournaments in town, I mean, their dressing rooms were all used.
Mhm.
You know, they brought in enough teams or whatever. I know sometimes the rooms would be all full. Plus, they'd have hockey bags in the curling lounge or downstairs there by the curling rink. So, just want to make sure we're not, when we do this, if offer them up a room, whether it's room 1, which I totally agree with. I understand the town has done a nice painting in there and so on, but we can do that somewhere else, I would hope. That we're not handcuffing minor hockey when they do come in for tournaments.
Mhm.
That is my own concern. At this point, we do have another organization that has one of our rooms as part of the lease or whatever. You know, maybe there could be some talk with that association too, just in case a room is needed, but they also leave stuff in there.
Mhm.
So, just curious from what staff's been working on with this team, if there was, you know, maybe a bit more talk and there's more leeway there with that dressing room, or if it's the way it's worded, that's how it is. They will give us permission, or may give us permission. There's 2 different terms there.
Yeah, I did have a concern by that wording as well, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you, Member Transfer Council. So in speaking with Mr. Prue, he said, like, especially when they know when tournaments are, you know, or with minor hockey, we will work at the beginning of the year because the league is set, or games are set quite early for the GMHL. Then minor hockey will be able to pick their tournaments when the team is away, and they don't have any concern. They are here to support the community. I do also want to note that Mr. Prue will be in town towards the end of the week, and if council or members of council would like to set up an informal meeting with him to have some of these questions answered, that is something that we can do as well. But I know Mr. Prue is, you know, they are very community-minded and oriented towards supporting minor hockey because minor hockey is the future of their organization as well, right? So they do want to support minor hockey and the growth as much as they can, and they have committed to saying that room, and it's nice to see kids coming in the room because it is the junior A room.
Mhm.
It is, you know, they do definitely work with minor hockey to provide those rooms for tournaments.
So in staff's eyes then, do you see a concern as far as bottlenecking of dressing rooms? Ms. Thompson?
Thank you. I know throughout my my career as a hockey parent as well, you know, having a specific amount of rooms is nice. Sometimes you have to move equipment out of rooms to make it work as well. But I think for the benefit of the community and them working with minor hockey, I think that it would work out well for the future for Tupler and minor hockey as well. That working with the team to use those rooms. Depending how, it all depends on how many teams are here for a tournament on a daily basis. You may have bottlenecks as well, depending if you have 8 teams coming versus if you have 4.
Definitely.
So it's something that we can work through, and I think that GMHL is very much dedicated to working with minor hockey for it and the district.
Okay, perfect. And last concern of mine is the girls' dressing room. Is there any plans or considerations for a different area for them, for the girls? Because we have dressing room 3 designated as the girls' locker room. So that takes up another room specifically for them. With the lack of rooms at the moment with GMHL coming in, is there plans to keep dressing room 3 as the women's dressing room, or is there another area being looked at, possibly, Ms. Thompson?
At this time, there is no other changes that have been considered going forward, just the use of dressing room 1 is dedicated to GMHL. It's a lot of expansion in room depends on future considerations at the community center at this time.
Definitely. I just don't want to get into a situation. I've had the unfortunate experience of having to dress my daughter in a closet in arenas because the rinks didn't prepare properly for separate dressing rooms. So I don't want to get into that situation here, and I think we really need to consider a proper dressing room for the women's. We do have it now, but I don't want them to lose that as well. So just a consideration. Any other comments, questions? Recommendation, please. Councillor Nobre.
Member Chalmers, Proctor. The council directs staff to prepare GMHL West facility use agreement with user rates 1 commercial facility rates, and that council approves GMHL West exclusive use of dressing room 1, and that staff will include fee as recommended by staff in agreement, and that council approves amended GMHL West facility use agreement as presented.
Seconder. Councillor Kirkowka, discussion. Councillor Nobre.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. You know, I don't think this will be the end of this. I mean, we'll have to work and grow with GMHL. You talk about the women's rooms, may have to evolve and grow with that as well. So, I mean, I met with Mr. Prue myself, and you know, his commitment to, he kept talking about community over and over again, the benefits to the community. He wasn't so much talking about the team. He felt like he kept talking about the community and that what they'll do. So this organization, is committed to improving our community, and we can work all other stuff out later if it becomes an issue. And I have no doubt that they'll come to the table with us.
I agree. Yep. Any other comments, questions? And I echo his passion about the community too. This team is going to bring a lot, not only for our minor hockey youths, but also for the community, for entertainment. I mean, you know, when we got the exhibition games for the mines, the stands were packed, the food bank boxes were packed. It's an exciting opportunity, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. Any other comments, questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Schedule of meetings? Any issues there, council? Ms. Thompson, any issues?
None.
Okay. Councillor Kirkowka.
Thank you, Your Worship. So just get clarity in regards to the budget. I know we're gonna have, my understanding from staff is 2 budget in front of us for the meeting on the 28th. Is my understanding operations and capital?
Correct.
Is that still correct? So should we not be looking at scheduling another meeting when the next meeting is not till March 28th?
I believe if the plan was if we don't get through it all which we likely won't, that it will carry over to the next regular meeting. Is that correct, Ms. Thompson?
Correct.
Counselor?
Yeah, so that's my concern, just over to another regular meeting, and then that one would be first, I would think the regular meeting, and then to continue to budget. To me, I think they should just be separate. I mean, I have a hard time believing that we will finish the two budgets in the one meeting, which is on the 28th.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I mean, I think if we cancel the budget meeting, we should just add it. Instead of trying to jumble this together, and then me would realize that we have to do this stick, or whatever it may be, we're trying to push it through, in order to disrespect the staff, they start cutting stuff off the regular agenda, and hold it off, and hold it off. To me, if we just did one on the 8th, or something like that, then it's, the two budget meetings are back to what staff had prepared previous to not being, I mean, I don't wanna say not ready, because that'd be wrong. Having staff off or whatever, the reason for the delay. So to me, if we add that meeting, we're back. They have the two different meetings, so they have some time.
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, and then if we can't get through everything on the 8th, we still have the 21st regular council meeting to go through to try and finalize. So, yeah, I don't mind that idea. Council?
I'm just curious, I guess, from staff side too, because I know how they prepare their budgets. But I mean, obviously the one should, I mean, I'm not saying it's done, but would be for the end of the month. But that would have been already done at the beginning of this month. So to me, we're just adding that. I just want to make sure it's okay with staff, from staff side too, in preparation for it. But to me, it just makes more sense that we're not trying to join all these meetings and then we're trying to rush through. And I think we make bad decisions when we all feel rushed because we're trying to get to that budget so that we're going to meet the timeline. I don't want to rush.
Ms. Thompson, any concerns?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand, through council. So both budgets are gonna be ready that night. There is no expectation to get through operating. Like, our plan is to have the budget meeting of the 28th is gonna be dedicated to capital. The operating will be available at that date as well. If council would like, you can do it the 28th and the 1st of March. You don't have to move to the 8th. You would be able to do it the 28th and then the 1st, and then you've got capital, and then most likely there will be carryover because we do have more discussions when it comes to capital. Although staff aren't presenting a huge capital budget this year, there are items that, that we are presenting that council may wish to discuss in more detail. So you can create a meeting for March 1st, or you can leave it to the 8th. I think that council will have time to review everything.
Councilor Majinski?
Yeah, if, with the meeting on the 28th, and then if we have another one on the 8th, that gives staff a bit of more time to, like, say we have some questions, and maybe they'll have time, give them a bit of time to get us answers by the 8th instead of only a couple days. So,
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the 8th myself, just to give us a bit more time to digest the operational budget as well. Preparing for the 28th, definitely get through the capital, but trying to do both in 2-day span, probably lose a little bit more hair, I'm sure, possibly. Only because you got a haircut, that's all. Councilor Kirkowka.
And I like the 8 too, because to me, then we don't mingle them together.
Yeah.
You kind of space that out, for myself, anyway, I can speak for myself. Gives a bit of time to dilute what happened on the 28th, not bringing in all that same stuff back up on the 1st. I'm not sure if we need a motion to add that, I believe we do.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we add a budget meeting for March 8th.
Seconder, Councilor Lehman, discussion? All in favor? Sorry. 5 PM again, yeah, please. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay. Notice of motions? Any notice of motions this evening? Okay. 10.1, Councilor Norbury brought forward the following notice of motion at the January 17th, 2022 regular meeting. Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand, that the District of Tumbler Ridge, before I make the motion, I'd like to amend it briefly, and it's just to remove a word.
Please.
that the district of Tumbler Ridge adds accessible doors to Willow Hall.
Seconder, Councillor Majinski. Discussion, Councillor Norby.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. The reason why I changed the wordage is that originally I felt that if I didn't have the handicapped word in the motion, we wouldn't really know what I was talking about, and it creates a very easy, the press a button doors to open up, right? But in reflection of that, not everyone who's going to be using this is handicapped. So I felt that accessible doors is more appropriate in this circumstance. Anyways, to the motion, it just seems silly that of all the places in Tumbler Ridge, we need to have accessible doors. It's Willow Hall, and it's nothing about their ability or who they are. It's just, I know some people have difficulty, and they do not go to Willow Hall because they have difficulty opening the doors. It's a no-brainer to have them push the button.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kirkowka.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. So I think the motion's great you brought it forward, but I think we should be saying that let's get a dollar figure for that first. And when we start changing structural, is there more to that building? I don't know. Right? So, to me, I'd like to know what the cost is at first. Like, we might be surprised what the actual cost is, and then maybe we need to have a different plan. So that's my only concern when we give a direction right to stop, just go into it. All of a sudden we get an amount, see an amount, and then we start hammering staff on why they spent that money. So to me, I'd like to see us get an amount back from staff first, so we know what it is. It's the staff that's here, but you look at the community center, the doors are in backwards. Right? The way they open up, the auto doors are in backwards. So if you gotta come around and go, yeah. So I think we should just have a cost so we know what it is before we just give that straight direction to have it accessible. I think it's a great idea, probably something that was overlooked. But I think it needs to be done, but I think we need to have the price amount first before we do something.
I think amendment is applicable on this one. So I'd like to move an amendment that we add after that the District of Tumbler Ridge brings a report back to council about adding accessible doors to Willow Hall. Seconder on the amendment, Councillor Kirkowka. Discussion on the amendment. Councillor Norby.
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I think that's reasonable. You never know. Yeah, it's a good idea to get a report in. It just seems like let's just go do it. But yeah, maybe we should pump the brakes a little bit, see what it's going to cost, and then we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. And by no means is this taken away from you identifying this as well. Thank you very much for bringing this forward. Councillor Majinski.
My concern is what is the threshold of a price, because it might cost $20,000, and if it's 25, we're going to say no, we're not going to do it. That seems a bit unreasonable too. Like, it's not obviously going to be astronomical, and I have full faith in our staff what they're going to do and get the best quotes possible and put in the proper doors. But at what point are we going to say no? It doesn't make sense to have a report saying, oh no, we're not going to go with it because it's way too expensive. It needs to be done. It's been requested. Yeah, maybe the report, maybe they say, well, it's not wheelchair accessible. Maybe there's a big step there. Maybe we have to get that fixed first. Maybe there is some structural, but I think there shouldn't be a cost associated to putting a door in to make it accessible for people when it should be accessible.
No, I agree with you. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think there is a threshold there. I think it's just doing due diligence to find out what the cost is before we go ahead. Councillor.
And do you think that's up to our discretion to have that dollar amount set for staff? I don't.
I think it's our due diligence to know what it's going to cost, no matter the cost. Councillor Kirkowka.
Yeah, thank you, Worship. So I'm not sure if you read into it, Councillor Majinski or not. I'm worried about 20 or 30 grand. What I'm worried about is all of a sudden they come back and say we have huge structural issue in the building. And it's going to cost us $500,000 to have it dealt with. There's concerns with some of our other buildings in this municipality. That's my only concern. Is it's a building the district had bought, probably without any inspection, and that concerns me. So my thing is, did they take something down? Did they remove something when it was a church, or is it built like that? And it's always been like that. So I don't have a dollar figure. If it's $100,000 to put a accessible door, then even that, it's not an issue. It's also when staff comes back and says we have structural issues there, And it's gonna be a big project, guys. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, if it's the 40, 50, $100,000, I mean, let's get the doors done. But to me, when we put some of these motions on the floor, no disrespect to Council, no worries, don't take any, please. But when we just throw it out there and say, go do it, and all of a sudden, next year we start going through the budget, there's a $500,000 price tag on Willow Hall. What's that for? Well, that was for the accessible doors you guys want. Not that I don't trust staff to go put the right doors in at the right cost. Well, we had to change out this, and we had to change it because we had no choice. That's my only concern. That's why I'm just saying, whether it's a report, or I don't have a look at it. I don't believe, and maybe Ms. Thompson can answer, I don't even believe we've gone over there and done any assessment on that building. And maybe I'm wrong.
Ms. Thompson?
Thank you. At this time, staff have not been over to Willow Hall. It is on the list to do an assessment of the building that hasn't been done. I do also want to note that the door that is backwards in the community center has been noted by Director Simcock, and it will be moved and turned so that it does go through, and it is within we're going to use operational budget to turn the door and get it put in properly. So it has been noted, and it'll be done hopefully within the next 2 months.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. It's like whenever if you do something at home or you have a project being done, you get a quote first, right? That's what a report is essentially. Let's get a quote. What's going to cost? And it makes sense. It seems prudent. Like I personally don't see it costing a whole lot of money, but you never know. It's a good point. I mean, let's just get a report. Let's get some numbers down. And some of the biggest, most contentious issues that we've had as a council is because we haven't had clarity, right? And we voted on things that we agree with on an emotional level, but we might not have the actual numbers. So let's just have a little bit of clarity, and it'll get done. Just take a few, and we can't do anything right now.
Councillor?
And that's exactly it, because when you put in a door, you're getting a quote, of course. But then as soon as you take the old door out, then you find the structural issues after the fact. Right? So then you're stuck, and then you gotta put the old door back in, you're gonna try to replace it, and then you gotta come back with more money. Like you're back to square one. So the report is deemed necessary, but at what point is it gonna be like a no-go, because we're gonna have to do all structural?
If it comes back that way, possibly. Councillor Lehman?
Thank you, Mayor. There's a door opener on there already. When you put a handicap opener on, all you're doing is it's about a 6x6 box that goes on the header of the door. So you're using the existing door. All you're doing is putting that opener in that's run by electricity, and you have a button on the inside and the outside. So there shouldn't be any reason to replace the door. All you're doing is putting a different door opener, door closer on that door.
Thank you. Councillor Norbury?
Do you think we can get a quote on that, Bernie?
Not tonight.
Council, leave it.
Okay. Any other comments on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment? Carried, thank you. Any more discussion on the amended motion? All in favor of the amended motion? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Okay, councillor's business? Any councillor's business tonight? Councillor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. I just have a quick update from the Southeast Health Services Society. We have finally finished our financials for the year 2020. So hopefully that should mean that we should be getting an influx of funds that we can start moving forward on construction of the Boltrees House. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with everyone. Forward motion.
That's good.
Keep it going.
Is there any need for more board members, Councillor Norbury? Please.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bertrand. If you can think of anybody can think of anyone that would be willing to sit on that committee, we do need board members. Yeah, we're always looking for good board members. Mr. Bumstead, he doesn't want to affiliate himself as Mayor Bumstead.
He's still the mayor. He's still the mayor.
Well, it's funny I call him Mayor Bumstead, but he's like, no, I'm just Dale here.
Oh, in this situation.
Yeah. And he's a massive, really competent people.
Good. Very important project. Any other councillors' business? Okay, I had a slew of meetings here. Started off with the 19th Annual BC Natural Resources Forum. stronger together, riveting virtually. Unfortunately, I see much more value in person. In this situation, virtually is very difficult to stay on task. But I did watch a couple of panels. The one with MABC, Michael Goring, and Brian Cox from Canadian LNG Alliance, as well as Kendra Johnson and Susan Yurkovich of Kofi. There was some talk from Michael Goring from the MABC about the new skills training roadmap coming out in regards to the mining jobs task force that I sat on. One of the recommendations in that report was for the government to prepare a skills training roadmap. So over the last year, I've been involved in the committee, a couple committees in that, and the report is just about ready to be released. So lots of interesting things in that report, a lot of focus on women in mining as well as Indigenous, and a lot of training and for future careers in mining. So I'm very excited about that report to come soon. Had a library board meeting. I had a conference call with Minister of MIR, Ministry of Indigenous Relations and Reconciliation. MLA Dan Davies organized the call with the Northeast Roundtable group to talk about TLE. Most of the concerns around the TLE was in the Blueberry area around Charlie Lake. Blueberry First Nations just had a new election, so they've elected a new chief, Chief Judy Desjardins. So there's a few changes going on there, and looks like a pretty good leadership there so far. So I think their TLE selections are going to change in the future here. So there was a lot of talk and questions in regards to that. I had a meeting with South Peace Primary Care Network Planning Committee. We did come to the Mayor's Health Task Force as a delegation to discuss the new committee that they want to create and try to wrap our heads around that. I think there was a lot more clarity in that regard, I think, so that was good. What else? I had Trudgiac committee meeting, or we were a part of the Trudgiac committee meeting as a delegation. That is the Tumbler Ridge UNESCO Global Geopark Indigenous Advisory Committee. And there we discussed wayfinding post and the concerns that the committee members had in regards to that. And I thought it was a very productive meeting, and kind of came to a mutual understanding, I think, in regards to that, and tried to understand what the concerns were and really trying to move this forward in a positive way. So I was happy with that one. Then we had our strat plan workshop, which I thought went very well. And Resource Municipalities Coalition, a couple meetings with them as well. And the Rural Equity Grant PCN Primary Care Network Planning Committee again on the 1st. So yeah, it's been a busy couple months here. Councillor Krakelka.
Thank you, Worship. So just on that, in regards to the South Peace Primary Care Network, that came into the Mayor's Health Task Force meeting as a delegation. They'll be coming, Charlie Rudy and Stacy Tyers will be coming in on February 14th, via Zoom probably, at the PMP, just to kind of give all that information back to council on what the reasoning was and what the concept is in regards to doing this other
Committee.
And it looks like we're trying to do it through the Health Task Force, and just making it as a subcommittee. Now we're not starting up another committee, trying to get more members to sit on it. It seems like it'll work, and there's some funds there eventually as we find the issues, but we've invited them to come back to council through our committee. I believe staff's already reached out, just because I think it's only fair to hear from them, and if you have questions, it's a good time to ask.
Yeah, they're very knowledgeable in this area, and Stacy, I believe, has a number of experiences in regards to setting up these primary care networks, so it is a very helpful delegation for sure. All right, any other councilors' business? Question and answer period, Ms. Thompson, anything?
I have none.
Okay, thank you. Resolution to closed. I'd like to move that the meeting of the District of Tumbler Ridge scheduled February 7th, 2022 be closed pursuant to the Community Charter provision Section 91, C, G, and J. C is labor relations and other employee relations. G is litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality. And J, information that is prohibited or information that if it were presented in a document would be prohibited from disclosure under Section 21 of the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Seconder, Councillor Lehman, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. 10-minute recess, please. No.